What's everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chaos. My name is Brad. We got Don in the house as well. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you guys own it. It is Tesla Day, people. We got Tesla earnings on the horizon. We're going to be reacting to those live, so make sure you guys are sticking around for that. We also have IBM, among others, that'll be reporting. Las Vegas Sands is also in that mix. So we're going to be reacting to all of that. Before we get into any of it, though, I wanted to shout out my starting five. And Kevin Hawthorne screwed it up. So we got Jeff Chow coming in saying he's first. Bodie Beard says he's second. Tahusker says third. And then Kevin Hawthorne he couldn't say fourth. He couldn't do it. Nevertheless, I'm going to shout you out because you're in the top five, or starting five. And Jim Souter is also in that mix as well. So what's going on, everybody? Good to see you. If you guys didn't make the starting five, it could be because you're not subscribed to this channel or Don's for that matter. So make sure that you're doing both of those things. Go check out Don's channel as well at the Don Fran Show. I know he would love you guys hanging out there as well. Make sure that notification bell to get notified when I go live at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time to react to all of the earnings going on here during earnings season. It's been very interesting, Don, to say the least, to see how these stocks have reacted based off of these earnings and some of the guidance that's been given out as of late too.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't know. I'm just hoping for a bull run today. I'm going to stay pretty reserved as far as earnings go until once we're done with this week. Then maybe we'll get a pattern. You know, like what earnings season was it where it was like you just never like a lot of times they just kind of go together. Like they're all up, they're all down, but like the last one was like just so random.
Yeah.
That I don't know. And plus, I'm also pretty biased on this one, so I kind of want this to do well and Snap to do well. I think Snap's going to be a huge make or break. Just with Google and Meta, we'll be sharing that data with them.
I agree. So that's going to be. We're going to continue to react to those. We're going to be reacting to Snap's earnings tomorrow, which is certainly going to impact that. Speaking of things going off, stocks going off, we talked about Mullen yesterday, Mullen Automotive, and it went absolutely apeshit. It went up as high as 80% on the day today on some pretty good news. But this is news that we already saw coming, which is very interesting. But I guess because it was officially official that they acquired Electric Last Mile as a company that was going bankrupt, and now have the ability to produce up to 50,000 vehicles annually. The assets will also help Mullen speed up the production and commercialization of the Mullen 5, the Bollinger B1 and B2 retail vehicles in around 12 months. I keep looking at this B1, by the way. It is so dope. I feel like I want one of those over a Cybertruck at this point. If you look at it, let me see if I can pull this up. Is it this one? Yeah, look at this. That SUV right there is badass.
I like it, but it also kind of gives off like a 90s Power Rangers movie.
It reminds me of like a old Defender. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty badass trucks too. It'll be pretty cool to see those on the road, or like a more beefy G-Wagon, I guess. It's kind of what it looks like. So the acquisition of that company is going to allow them to produce this car faster, and so that is why we're seeing the stock move today. Who knows what's going to be happening afterwards? I think the story isn't done being written here, but I thought it was interesting to bring up because we just talked about it yesterday, and we mentioned some of the Form 4s that came out just a few days prior. So pretty solid move on that one. I'll give you where I think it could go just by looking on the chart real quick, and then we'll get into expectations for Tesla. But this one, in my opinion, we go to the daily chart. I thought there was a possibility we could look at all the volume that came in on this one today. I thought there's a possibility we could see that 50-day moving average at 51 cents. Still very much on the table, I think, because it didn't even get anywhere close to that to see if it was going to test. But we'll see. I mean, it was very volatile, as most of these low cap stocks are. So we'll just continue to monitor this one. I thought it was a pretty crazy day for Mullen, considering the rest of the market was pretty rough.
I mean, it's just funny, just like it being in the streams past couple days, and today just rips. What do you think before we get into Tesla? What do you think of Elon's tweet? His first tweet was, "I will not let you down, no matter what it takes." And then I don't know if he had another one, but What do you think of that? I thought that was like Ukraine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think
would you call that
there's been such a rift now between Zelensky and Elon Musk, which makes no sense. I don't know why Zelensky would go after Elon after he was helping him out with Starlink and that sort of thing. So I really don't know what to make of that. It's very cryptic, as Elon's tweets usually are.
Yeah, as I said, they usually are. But I've seen a lot of people jump on. They think it's an earnings thing. I think Elon probably knows it's meant to be earnings, but he also is like, no, like as far as the SEC is concerned, his real reason is, like Ukraine or something like that.
Yeah. So
Elon is cringe. Guy needs to be more mature. It's Elon, but
yeah, I mean that's just his nature. So we'll see. I think Elon's or the Tesla earnings will probably impact stocks like Mullen and some of the other EVs that are out there. So we'll certainly keep an eye on all of those as these earnings come through. The expectations for Tesla is going to be
of the stock.
Sorry about that. The expectations for Tesla are going to be estimated earnings per share of $1 per share. $21.93 billion in revenue is the expected revenue here as well. It's gonna be a pretty big jump because last time around they came in at 76 cents per share, $16.93 billion in revenue. And so it's quite a jump quarter over quarter. That's going to be the big challenge here. Can Tesla live up to that type of bar being set? And is the growth still going to be there? Now, it's expensive from a fundamental standpoint, sitting at 50 plus times next year's earnings as far as PE is concerned. What do you think's going to happen here, Don? What are your guesses on Tesla? Are they going to come in and crush it and the stock's going crazy or not?
I think they are. I still remain bullish. That's what I said in the beginning of this week. I think they're going to have a green pop. I'm more curious, does it hold? I will say I got a little bit ambitious today. I was going to wait for the pop and then sell some calls, but I did buy a 220 call, and I sold some 170 puts for next week.
Yeah.
So collected $100 just on that put. Nima, I see you here. I sold that put. So if Tesla does go below 170 or stays below there, I'm gonna have 100 more shares. So that'll be interesting. I see a lot of people calling out Tesla to 150, Tesla below. I think Tesla's going to 240 or 180. Like it's going to be one of those numbers. Like we jumped up to the expected move for the week, and then we just hung out. It's like, do we just go 2 standard deviations, or do we just send this thing right to the south side? And but I mean, the chart really hasn't given us any clues either, because it's just been sideways all week, just hanging out.
Yeah, I'm actually putting a poll here in the chat right now. I'm at least on my, for those of you watching on my channel, where will Tesla be by the end of the week? I got 2 options for you. I made it nice and simple: over 250 by the end of the week, or under 200 by the end of the week. And the votes are already coming in. So make sure you guys go in there and vote. It's already leaning towards under 200, but you're still saying potential. If you had a choice between over 200 or under 200 or over 250, I'm assuming you're going to take over 250. I
would have to. Yeah. 250 is I think that's a bit ambitious. I was thinking about selling the 250 calls. I haven't done it yet, but I'm looking right now.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to check on some of the comments here. Ryan says EV is the future. These small caps will find their place in the market like Mullen. Yeah, I think so, especially with the battery technology that they seem to have and they continue to acquire. It looked like we already said Elon is cringe. That's pretty funny.
I'm going to sell the 250 real quick. So I'm in the 220. I'm going to sell the 250 this week. So it's an extra $150. So I just need Tesla to go right to 249.
Yeah.
That's where I need it.
Rocket Picker says entry yesterday on Mullen. Got a good entry on yesterday on Mullen. Now time for Tesla to move up. I think that's going to be a rising tide that lifts all ships for sure. Acidine says Tesla will go down. And Justin says we're going up. So lots of people on both sides of this trade here. We'll see where it goes. And that's your expectations for Tesla. Now, before we get into any more Tesla stuff, I do want to acknowledge that there are other earnings today. So we have IBM that also is reporting earnings. They don't have a revenue estimate here, which I thought was interesting because they didn't give guidance last time around. I don't know why, because the company still brings in around $15 billion a quarter. It's a huge company, hasn't gone anywhere. It's one of the dot-com survivors and is still just sustained and done really well. It's one of those tech value stocks nowadays. $1.03 per share is the expected there. But according to Seeking Alpha, I got nothing here as far as revenues concerned. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this, but IBM has obviously struggled. I'm going to get some of this shit off here. I was watching them for a while.
Crap up.
Yeah, it's a little mess.
You watch some other YouTubers?
No, just trying to find patterns and shit.
While you're doing that, I want to hear what everyone's plays are in the comments. Like, I love your opinions, and that's cool and all. But did you have the balls enough to put some money on the line? Did you roll those dice? Or are you just a little spectator so you can say whatever you want later?
Right. Yeah. Who's got skin in the game? Who's got skin in the game? Oh, yeah. WD-40. I didn't think anybody was even caring about WD-40, but they do have earnings as well. I can certainly pull up those expectations. They are expected to come in at $1.22, $131.1 million in revenue for the quarter. That's a lot of WD-40. Do they have other things? I don't really know. Is it just WD-40 or is it other stuff?
Well, WD-40 is about the only thing that matters. So you can fix a lot of things with that.
That and duct tape. That's all you need. That's all a man needs. I'm just looking at their brief overview. They have other multi-purpose specialty drip oils, spray lubricant products, as we all know.
Specialty drip oils, huh?
That's what they call it.
It's interesting. Sounds like a good time.
It's just penetrating oil at the end of the day. Okay. They actually have carpet. They're under the Carpet Fresh brand name. I didn't know that. Carpet and household cleaners and rug and room deodorizers under the 1001 brand. I don't know anything about 1001 brand. Do you?
No.
I never heard of that either.
No.
But, all right. So that's WD-40. We'll keep an eye on that since Snookeroo wants to take a look at that. Colton Blake.
I might have another helicopter landing in my backyard.
It's poor. Says I have an entire net worth in GME. Oh, that's right. Yes. Alcoa has earnings today too. That slipped my mind. Thank you for the reminder there. Alcoa, we can pull those expectations up as well. Guys, keep them coming because there's a lot of earnings today. If there's ones that you really want me to take a look at, I can give you what the expectations are, and we can, of course, follow them after the close. We're about 30 seconds away from that close. 18 cents per share for Alcoa is the expectation there. $2.97 billion in revenue also is that expectation. So there you have it for Alcoa.
Jesus, scared the shit out of me. My speakers are up.
It happens every fucking day in the open as we're live on DC TV.
I know. I started closing it down, just trading for my phone so it doesn't interrupt anymore. But then I forget. I do have to rob a helicopter pilot if he lands in my backyard, though.
That's hilarious. I don't know why they land in your backyard all the time.
I don't know. It'll be funny. But I promise my chat, if it happens again, I got to Grand Theft Auto that thing and be a new pilot. But I will ask him his opinion on Tesla.
Checking in on some of the other comments. Snookeroo says that WD-40 owns many other companies. I guess I'll have to check into that. There's a song out there for that, says Justin. I'm not quite sure. What are you talking about that one? ExoPix says Mullen Bollinger Motors has a partnership with Roush. I didn't know that. Basically, Roush is making their chassis for their vehicles. Huh. Interesting. It's like that Roush truck. Greg, one of our buddies, Greg has a Roush F-150. That thing is badass. All right. Colton says I edited Thinkorswim code to never activate the so you have to figure that out. Yeah, the bell.
Is there a code for that, or is it not just like a setting? You can just turn the bell off.
I'm sure it's a setting. I would imagine it is. Checking in on Tesla. It doesn't look like we have any immediate reaction, but after the close here, it's up around 0.25%. This just looks like some buyers coming in. Not really anything as far as reactions to the stock and related to earnings just yet. Checking out Alcoa. Still flat, so no real news. That closed down 5% today. That was rough. WDFC. WD-40.
Who trades this? Is this like Chipotle?
Look at this. This is a 5-minute chart. It's ugly.
Yeah, no one trades that. There really is more people in Wakanda coin than there is that.
Probably so. So the votes are coming in on the poll that I put up over on my channel at Own the Chaos. It says, will there? What I asked, where will Tesla be by the end of the week? 65 votes are in so far. Over 250. The option for over 250. 57% of you said that it's going to be over $250 by the end of the week.
That's
44% are at under 200. That's actually a pretty decent split.
Hey, not everyone can be right. All right. Up or down.
It's almost 50-50.
There's always next quarter for you guys if you shorted Tesla.
WD-40 is moving down now. Let's see.
Maybe I should have stuck with WD-40.
It's moving down quite a bit. Now down 1 1/3 after being down 2.5% today. Don't see anything on that just yet, though. Let's pull back over to Tesla.
Where'd you even find WD-40? Just Googling earnings?
I use Earning Whispers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever even seen WD-40 on there.
WD-40 during the pandemic went ape shit. I mean, I know a lot of stuff did, but that thing went crazy.
Yeah, if you greased up before you went outside, it wouldn't stick to you.
That's right. It would just slide. The COVID would just slide right off of you.
Yeah, helps if you run from the police too. Grease up, get naked, and then if you just got to rob a store and run, they can't catch you. Those things we learned in Missouri. So, if you guys ever want to visit,
Cinestyle says I have to pee so bad, but I can't. Not until after earnings. He probably just peed his pants after that joke.
Tony says Tesla might just do a stock buyback. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be upset if they don't announce a buyback. That's been a huge conversation lately.
Yeah,
a lot of people will be upset with all the cash they have on hand. If they're not buying back at these prices, well, their opinion is it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Tesla halted? No, it's not.
No, it's just a joke. Somebody trolling. Somebody be trolling.
It's like, I have, first of all, if it ever looks like I'm looking up at the ceiling, it's because I have monitors. I have a monitor as everything on it right now. So if this stream looks crazy, because I'm literally watching it live as we talk.
Yeah,
can't troll this one.
I have it pulled up here. So also wanted to, while we're waiting for these earnings to come out, wanted to encourage you guys to go check out my Patreon. It's at patreon.com/ownthechaos. For those of you who have been a part of the Chaos crew. Now we're seeing Tesla move, but go check out patreon.com to help support the channel and become part of the crew. Let's go ahead. It looks like Tesla is moving. Those earnings may be out.
EPS beat.
Stock is up 2.5%.
It's not enough. I want the beat down on some bears.
I'm pulling up those earnings. As soon as they come up, I will certainly have those for you. No immediate numbers just yet. But as you can see, the stock is continuing to move up here now.
It needs to hold.
Starting to give back some of those gains now.
The expected move put it right at 226. So we got above that, and we're right back in. That's what I'm watching. If we stay outside that, then that's where I get the 240 mark. We'll go 2 standard deviations, I think.
It's looking like perhaps Tesla beat earnings slightly, $1.04. I want to confirm that, but those are some of the early numbers I'm seeing. Expectation was $1.01.
Bruce says, "Hurry, buy the dip." I'm not gonna do that right now. This is a little spicy. I have enough in Tesla right now.
Okay, so yeah, we do have some good earnings here. So they came in at $1.04, $1.05 per share. Expectation was $1.01. Free cash flow, $3.3 billion in Q3, $2.2 billion in cash position for the quarter. Earnings per share is a beat, and guidance was reaffirmed. They are still expecting 50% year-over-year growth. Recession or not, Tesla is going to continue to grow at a 50% clip, but the stock now has just gone red, down 2.5%. So just to reaffirm, they came in at $1.05 versus $1.01 on earnings per share. Tesla still sees 50% average annual growth in vehicle deliveries. That's still pretty crazy. The stock is all over the place right now and continuing to fall here after hours. Closed the day at 222, now sitting down at 215. That's good to be down about 3.5%. Revenue came in at 21.45 billion versus the 21.96 billion that was estimated. So they missed on revenue, it looks like. It's according to CNBC.
Good, but not good enough.
And that's what's going on right now. You can see the reaction. It's now down 4.5%, almost 5%. There it is. Now down over 5% for Tesla. Looking to give you some more numbers as they come in through.
Break that 200 mark. We're gonna be at the 180.
So it looks like the Bears might have been on this one. Stocks continuing to sell off, now down 6%. How are you feeling about this right now, Don?
Bears are still wrong. I'm going to take the classic YouTube stance where the market's wrong. I'm not. No. Either way, I wouldn't pop champagne bottles if I was a bull or bear. Even if the candle was this much green, we still got to wait till tomorrow because, like, we just saw it go up, then we just saw it go down. A case in point, what was it? Microsoft got smoked. I swear it's Microsoft. And then the next morning, it was green.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many earnings you guys need to play to figure that out. But like, it beats and then it still goes down. Everyone still gets confused. I got a zone right here at 210 to 215, so we probably should find some buyers or it's not holding.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by this because you're looking at earnings per share, $1.05 versus $1.01 that was expected. That's a beat. Then they come in and miss on revenue, but reaffirm their 50% year-over-year growth. And I'm just kind of curious as to how that can be if you're not beating revenue numbers like that. I mean, they missed by nearly $500 million on revenue.
So where's the confusion?
On how they can continue to reaffirm their 50% year-over-year growth when revenue isn't meeting those type of expectations.
I guess they're not growing the revenue; they're just growing sales. What are they growing? Or just
sales is revenue?
Okay.
So I mean that's I guess the kind of confusing part. Maybe that's why we're getting the reaction we're seeing here. It is starting to claw its way back. Was down to 206.20, and now sitting back up at 213. Obviously, a lot can happen because it is earnings after all. So we're seeing this reaction. But that's a bit confusing as to how they can reaffirm that 50% year-over-year growth with revenue numbers not really meeting expectations.
Someone said Elon is nonstop tweeting to save the stock. There was a lot of price increases on the Teslas, but with the backlog, we're not seeing those. So I wonder if he's referencing the pipeline. Like, hey, like we didn't make as much money now because of inflation. That's why we had to raise prices, but that will be reflected into next quarter. So then your average sales price goes up.
Yeah, possibly.
I kind of thought that would be the reason we beat. I thought some of those cars it would suck if those cars were already in. But I thought we'd start to see those trickle in now and bring up that average price and bring up the sales. Because
of the price hike, you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perhaps. I'm a Tesla holder as well. I'm not going to continue to be bearish on this at all. Mm-hmm. But, as a Tesla holder, I just kind of scratching my head at some of these numbers so far. We'll continue to come back to this one, but there is movement in other stocks that are reporting earnings today, and one of those is IBM. IBM is now up 5% after hours. As I'd mentioned, the expectations for IBM was $1.03 per share. I didn't have those revenue numbers that was expected, but it looks like they are crushing it right now. And I'm going to try to see if I can find those numbers for you in just a moment. Here they are. So revenue came in at $14.11 billion. According to this source, estimated was at 13.5. And they boosted their yearly forecast. So they actually raised their guidance. Again, another tech stock, just like Netflix yesterday, raising their guidance. They came in at $1.81 versus $1.77 on earnings per share, and crushed their revenue numbers by about $600 million. So pretty decent beat there for IBM. And this is interesting, Don. I mean, we have people worried about recession and talking about slowing of growth. Obviously, interest rates are lag the economy, and we still have yet to feel a lot of those interest rate hikes, but we're still seeing the growth here.
I wish I had something for you on that one. Yeah, I mean, You'd think the also partly why I was kind of a little quiet as far as earnings go this season, because I'm curious. Do we announce the buckle down? Like, hey, we're still not out of the woods yet, or is this the start? What has me nervous is everyone talking about how we're going to see all this growth still, and then we still raise hikes, and then all this just gets erased. But yeah, I agree. I wish I had more to say on that, other than I don't know. They're not feeling it. Like they just set themselves up, or maybe there's just no recession. We're fine.
Yeah, I
Rainbow
mean,
sunshine.
can we really rule out the possibility that there isn't going to be a recession, like a full blown one, like we saw in 2008 or years past? Like, is it just some sort of soft slowing of growth, and then we're back to normal? I mean,
I
this
don't
is
think it's 2008 bad. I don't think there's any way we can avoid it. I do think they're raising rates just to drop them later. So when we feel it later, we'll announce the rate drop and kind of ease that. Almost like we're going to run this car into a wall, but then deploy the airbags. It's kind of how I think that's going to happen. So is that a soft landing, or
I don't know what that is, but
it's softer than like a 90s car with no airbags?
it's a hard landing with a pillow that you can hang out on. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, this is interesting. We had Netflix yesterday talking about growth is back on, and so we're starting to see risk on investors start to pour in here. And you have IBM that now also raises their guidance and come in and beat on earnings per share. They beat on revenue. Everything looks solid here for a company like IBM. And IBM is deflationary, and a lot of the other tech stocks are also deflationary. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. I really am just speculating here. So, but if you guys have thoughts on this, let me know what you're thinking about some of these tech stocks that are now doing extremely well. This is kind of crazy.
What do you think of this question? He says, "Do I sell some VTI, which is basically S&P, and buy Tesla?" I think that's an apple and an orange.
Yeah, I mean, because you have VTI that's relatively super safe, and Tesla that's super volatile. So I think it just depends on what kind of balls you got on you. if you can stomach it, then maybe go after Tesla. But if you can't, then just keep yourself at VTI and don't even think about it.
Yeah, why not both? Tesla's got some. Well, I mean, we're watching it right now. Some risk associated with it. Greater the risk, greater the reward, which is why it's my number one position. It's also not the number one thing I talk about, because if you just blindly whole account Tesla, you're opening yourself up for some weird stuff,
right.
like the unsolicited kind. So like that's why like I even caution. Well, allocation. Allocation is always important. You can buy whatever you want as long as the numbers make sense.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, you if you want to be in something a little bit safer, I think of course that makes a lot of sense, especially in this environment. But if you are younger, you have a longer time horizon, and you can stomach some volatility, Tesla is absolutely something that I would consider at least taking a look at. But looking at the poll here, it's still split almost 50-50 here. So about 109 votes are in already on the YouTube poll here. I asked the question, where will Tesla be by the end of the week? 55% of you so far has said over $250 by Friday, by the end of close on Friday. And 45% of you guys are in here saying that it's going to be under $200 by the end of the week. Very interesting the split on this one. I'm actually surprised. I thought there was going to be a favor to one side or the other, but I'm really shocked that there's such an even split on that one.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna call it Dane for short. All caps. I knew Tesla earnings would be bad. Caps. Did you say what play you were in earlier? Did I miss that? Because I really don't care for people that called it out if they don't have any skin in the game. Tesla lost 30% of its value in 1 month. This is an indication that earnings are bad. That's not even close to how things work.
No.
But also, while we're on that subject, Kareem asked, why won't Robinhood let me trade more than 3 days a week? And I would say that's some basic stuff. And I would really question how much money you have out there in trades with a question like that. And it's not to talk bad, but that's a federal rule. It's not Robinhood. That is across the board. That's a pattern day trade rule. So real quick, everyone losing money. The government had to step in and say you have to have 25 grand. You want to get in here and trade. Anything underneath that, it's 3 trades in a rolling 5 days. Without that, you'd have to go to the futures world or Forex.
Yeah. So it's a federal law that you can't, if you have less than $25,000 in your account, you cannot trade more than 3 times over a 5-day rolling period. So great question there, Karem. That boy says, why is Tesla already tanking before earnings? It's not insider trading. Tesla earnings are out. I know we're shocked because Tesla's earnings came out so early. Usually Tesla waits till like 4:30 to get their earnings out. But the earnings are out, and they actually had mixed results here. So they came out and beat earnings per share at $1.05 versus the $1 that was expected, but they missed on revenue by about $500 million. And so that's why the stock is actually tanking right now. It was down as much as 6%, but it is clawing its way back a little bit, sitting in the mid 3% range. Still red, though. We'll see where this goes, but anything can happen. Look, Elon could come on. I don't know if Elon's expected on today's earnings call or not.
I don't think so.
But,
you probably might be about to say this. But I was going to answer someone's question. Oh, someone sold Tesla. The earnings call. We still do not know if they're announcing a buyback. And not to bring on any FOMO, but if they announce a buyback in that stock or in that earnings call, I wonder if this is the dip buy.
Perhaps. And that's what I was getting ready to say. Like anything can happen. And lots of times more news gets revealed in those earnings calls as well. So this isn't the end all be all. This isn't where Tesla necessarily has to live in the red here because earnings could come, or the earnings call could come about, questions get asked, and sometimes that can bring on some more buying. So we'll see. Sometimes it could go the other way too. The conference call certainly can sway this one way or the other, but we shall see. Those are your numbers for Tesla, though. I did want to touch on Alcoa. So Alcoa is down around 2.5% after already having a pretty tough day. It was down 5.25. The revenue came in at 2.85 billion. If you guys recall, 2.97 billion was the expectation. So that is a pretty tough miss. 18 cents per share was the expectation there. I'm looking for earnings per share. I do not have those just yet, but it looks like pretty tough miss for Alcoa. And we saw this, like the commodities have come down quite a bit overall. And so it's not really too much of a shock, at least in my opinion, to see Alcoa down here. But if you guys were long on this, it's going to be a tough day for you tomorrow as well. Stock's now down 6% on this report. A couple other just real quick numbers here. Revenue came in, as I mentioned, 2.85 billion. They recorded a quarterly net loss of 746 million and loss per share. Oh, here it is. Loss per share of $4.17. Holy fuck. Hold on. Yeah. 18 cents was the expectation. They came in at a loss of 4 something. What the fuck happened? Recorded a quarterly net loss of 746 million, loss per share of 417. Damn. Which includes 652 million of restructuring charges related primarily to pension actions. That's what killed their quarter. Pensions. Jesus. They did complete a $1 billion pension annuity transaction, the 5th such transaction since 2018, for a total transfer of approximately 3.3 billion of prior pension obligations and related assets. But damn, pensions ruined their whole entire quarter. That sucks. That sucks. Jimmy James says Brad doesn't show Don's zone. That bounces a magic yellow box. What bounces?
It bounced at the zone. But I gotta bring up Dane again. Dane, can I call you Dane? Tesla's business model got hit hard. Interest rates on cars are 10% if you have a good credit record. All right, well, homeless people aren't buying Tesla. Unfortunately, Tesla's clientele, they usually have good credits. That's probably why Tesla isn't going to get hit like that. I do agree with as far as the auto industry. Yeah. But were you short Tesla already? Like, did that already happen? I was still curious what the play was on that.
Yeah. I'm also trying to figure that out as well. Any suggestions? Rajesh says, any suggestions on Snap, Pinterest, and Meta? So yeah, we can start talking about that a little bit. I did want to just recap real quick, just let you guys know, as we're looking at the Tesla chart here, starting to roll back over off of a short bounce on a reaction to earnings beat, but a revenue miss. And they did reaffirm their 50% year-over-year sales growth, which I had mentioned kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit considering that they missed on those revenue numbers. But those are your numbers for Tesla. IBM came in and absolutely crushed their quarter. Stock's now giving back some of its gains, but it's still up 3.5%. Alcoa came in, shit the bed. So did WD-40, for those of you who actually cared. Snookeroo, I'm talking to you. And um, before we get into anything else, I just want to encourage you guys, for the 253 of you watching in here, to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well if you're enjoying the stream, and go check out Don from the Don Fran Show on YouTube. If you guys want to get your options learn on, you want to talk more about options, he's definitely the guy for you. Definitely want to go check him out and be a part of his show as well. So as far as Meta and Snap and all that's concerned, this whole earnings season so far has kind of thrown me for a loop, and Don kind of alluded to this. You know, we came into this quarter kind of expecting more slowing of growth, right? And of course Tesla came in and fell below expectations, but they still grew, and they're still reaffirming their guidance as well. You have yesterday Netflix came out, they grew subscribers higher than expected, and then also increased their guidance for subscribers for the current quarter. And IBM comes in and crushes their quarter. So it's very iffy. I'm not saying that Snap's going to do well, but I have to believe that perhaps maybe this trend continues. I don't know. I think there's going to be a stock out there that has earnings and they absolutely shit the bed and then brings all their stocks down. Maybe Snap could be that one. I'm really not quite sure.
I do think Snap's going to make or break things.
Yeah.
Just because what they release is going to give kind of a heads up to Google and Meta, and those are going to be some big ones that will move markets. Like if you guys think Netflix can move a market, wait till you see something like Google or Meta. Like they're big in the Nasdaq. They carry a lot of weight, and they're gonna bring a gravity with them. I'll put it that way. So
yeah,
best case scenario, they dud out or they go for it.
Yes, and they will be reporting earnings next week. So the tone's going to be set once Snap reports tomorrow after hours, and we're going to be reacting to those earnings as well. I think this is going to be very. I mean, Tesla was one of the stocks that certainly had a lot of influence that we were keeping an eye on, but Snap's definitely going to be another one. Every quarter, we wait for Snap's earnings to come out to see how the rest of the social media platforms are going to play out. Meta, I still feel like is stupid cheap, and even Alphabet at these levels. But as I mentioned on Monday at the start of earnings season here, I think the safer play is to wait after earnings. A lot of these stocks have come down so much that you're not going to miss the run, in my opinion. I think that it's worth it to people who might be not akin to taking on more risk to just wait till after the earnings come out. I mean, Meta Platforms isn't going to just surge up 30% after earnings, even if they are good. You might miss out on the absolute bottom, but I think the safer play is to wait to see what those earnings do. If they are good, cool, then maybe you can make your buying decisions then. But if you try to get in before the Snap or Meta or any of the other ones, it's really risky. I mean, if you're willing to take on that risk, by all means. But in my opinion, if it were me, I'd probably just continue to wait till after these earnings came out to see where the dust settles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, even the gambling. I love gambling earnings, just to break the monotony.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm much lighter. Like I told you guys, I sold a 250 call on Tesla. I sold the 170 put. It was so far out of the money, it was only worth $250. So I mean, I'm in a call, but even just that's nothing for me because I'm usually risking quite a bit more. Like what it used to be Amazon earnings. One contract was 15,000. So going from that to I'm going to risk a few $100. I mean, that's if you're just watching the plays. I always like to just watch the money, not watch their opinion. That's exactly why I'm chilling out. Like, let's just see where we're at. Are we going to get an end of year rally or a midterm rally, or are the excuses going to die down for a second for why the bears should be here?
Right.
And then what's 2023 even going to look like?
Yeah, exactly. And so while these earnings so far have been really optimistic, I just hesitate to be overly optimistic just yet. Who knows? Like I said, maybe Snap comes in, actually has a decent quarter. We will, of course, be reacting to those tomorrow. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button, and that notification bell to get notified when we go live at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow to react to those. That'll be just before the close. So we'll give you a quick preview on all of that and what we're going to expect. And then once those earnings come out, of course, we'll be reacting to those. And I'm kind of excited one way or the other. It's going to be an absolute shit show or it's going to be awesome. I don't know which one's which, but I'm here for it.
I got to clear this up. And he says, clarification. You lost 250 today? No, I sold those options contracts. So as long as Tesla stays below 250 or above 170, then I just made $250.
You sold puts, correct?
Put and a call.
Okay, you sold put and a call.
So I sold the 250 call. That we did that on streams. You just had to be here in the beginning. Right. And then the 170 put I had sold. I'm trying to see how much I'm gonna lose here in a second. On the options contract that I bought.
while you're doing that, housekeeping asked about AT&T. Also asking if it was shit or legit. I will let you know about AT&T here. So it's been rough. AT&T has not done well. Recently, though, it started to make a move up. I'm not ready to call this legit just yet. I think, though, that you look at risk reward, plus it has a halfway decent dividend. Really kind of depends on why you're getting into AT&T. To be honest with you, I think Verizon's probably the better call here if I'm looking at one or the other, just because AT&T still hasn't been able to find a direction as a company, let alone as a stock. So, Verizon, ticker symbol VZ, has obviously had a similar looking chart, but the company's still very solid. And now the dividend yield is pretty high at this point too. If I had the choice between the two, I would actually go after Verizon over AT&T. Obviously, it's your call. But in my opinion, I think that it's still reasonable to call AT&T shit at this point.
Yeah, why? I just went over this last night too, but communications are getting smoked.
Yeah,
across the board. Do you know why?
No idea. I really don't. I really can't tell you why. And Disney, I believe, still is also in the communication sector, and that's also been doing pretty poorly. So I really don't know.
Is it like an homage to Sprint since they suck so bad? Like, you know what? Someone's got to carry this bear weight. We're just going to all suck at the same time for them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the sentiment is that demand for communications is gonna drop off. I really don't know. I really couldn't tell you. Social Trading says T-Mobile is the only solid one. You know what? You might be right about that. I haven't looked at T-Mobile. Yeah, that actually is holding up better than Verizon and AT&T. So maybe I should take that back. I don't know enough about T-Mobile, but the chart certainly looks a hell of a lot better. So you are correct on that one, sir.
That was my first options contract ever.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I clicked the buy button, and this thing's bouncing around. I'm up, I'm down. It's because I bought something with no volume, so it's just jumping to the bid and ask, and I would put in an order, and it would literally just change the bid and ask. I'm like, my money's going up, and then I would delete it, and then it would drop. I'm like, I just missed it. I got to put it back in. I was like, oh, God, I completely didn't understand. But, that's how I was learning, and then it was hilarious. Yeah. I laughed at it. When I figured out what was going on, I was like, God, I'm stupid.
Acidane chiming in and giving us some love. Appreciate that, my man. Yeah, hit the like button if you guys are enjoying the stream so far. Nima Dog asking about, what do you think about Salesforce? Is it a good buy? Salesforce is, by the way, if you guys are just tuning in, we did react to IBM, Tesla, as well as many other stocks. Alcoa shit the bed on their earnings, missed horribly, and that stock's tanking right now. Tesla also trying to get its life together, figuring it out, but they came in with mixed results. The stock's still down around 3.5% on earnings beat, but a revenue miss. Guidance, they came in and still reaffirmed their guidance for 50% growth on sales year over year. I really am trying to see how that is, given the fact that they came in and missed on revenue, but we will continue to watch that, of course, as things progress. But looking at Salesforce, I actually like this, Nima Dog. I think Salesforce has come down to reasonable levels. forward PE on this is still quite high at 32 times next year's earnings, but the growth you can't argue with. And that to me is probably worth spending or paying the premium for. We look at other companies that are in tech, such as a CrowdStrike that has a high valuation, but the demand's not going anywhere anytime soon. Snowflake, some of the other ones that have high valuations, and they're still worth a look because of the growth story. And Salesforce is another one of those. So I think that Salesforce, yes, has the ability to have a nice little move here. I will say that the chart still doesn't look great. We haven't really seen a solid bottom out of Salesforce, but you can't argue that it's come down to reasonable levels considering the growth. So fundamentally, I like it. The chart tells a different story, at least in my opinion. I'm sure Don can have his own as well. Risk reward wise, I don't think it's too bad, but long term, Salesforce can be fine. In the short term, it still might be a bit bumpy.
I'd catch the knife at 118.
118.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's still that means Don thinks it's still got a ways to go, huh?
Yeah, that's where it's worth it to me right now. If I were to catch it right now, 153. Yeah, I'd have to give it almost $20 worth of risk. Like my stop would have to be like 137. Hang on. Yeah, I'd have to give it below the low. So my stop would be 136.85.
Yeah.
So, but then I feel like it would just take longer to tag out. It would just be a play I just get to watch in my account for a little bit. I think it gets spicy and it's worth it 118 for me to buy.
Got it.
But
yeah, so I guess it just kind of depends on what you guys are looking for. If you're just looking to dollar cost average into this thing and you're just like, hey, is it still worth dollar cost averaging into? I say yes. The company's very solid. It's not gonna go anywhere. And you're probably gonna look at these prices no matter where you get them at these levels, and they're still gonna be cheap. But if you're looking for a shorter term, like Don was talking about, and I agree, I still think that there's definitely some more pain to come for Salesforce potentially. But hey, who knows? They have earnings in a couple weeks, and that could tell us a different story as well. Which is why I'm saying if you want to be in, but maybe not with everything you got.
What's LVS doing?
Las Vegas Sands is down around 0.5%. They did come out with earnings, but it doesn't seem to be too much of a reaction. Here's your 5-minute chart. What it's doing after hours. It's been a bit all over the place. Estimating or earnings per share were a loss of 27 cents. The estimate was a loss of 24. So they missed on earnings per share, a heavier loss than expected. Revenue came in a little bit higher than expected, though, 1.01 billion versus the 992 million that was expected. So that was another mixed quarter from them. The stock's down 0.5%, so not really too much of a reaction there. But those are your numbers for Las Vegas Sands. And that is interesting to me too. Las Vegas Sands, I don't think is involved in sports betting like a Caesars or MGM, Penn National, any of those other ones. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of those numbers. Honestly, I thought we would see some more growth, and it looks like they saw growth from a revenue perspective. I don't know if it's what's hitting them from a earnings per share. Was it inflation? Was it who knows? But those are your numbers for Las Vegas Sands, and pretty non-reactionary there.
Yeah, those are boring earnings.
Yeah.
Let me find tested the day. Oh, and then I looked at the call I bought was $950. So I'm gonna need Tesla to get to 229 now.
That might not happen. So what's your plan if it doesn't happen, Don? For the viewers.
I guess I take an L. It's not magic. There's only two options. I make money or I don't. The call that I sold, the put that I sold, looks like those are going to be just fine. When I play earnings, I give it to the nearest nerd at the bid tomorrow morning, and I call it a day. So unless there's something to make me believe otherwise that Tesla might continue to push, then I'll do just that tomorrow morning at the bell. Where's the bid? There's the guy. Here it is. Take it. It's all yours. So salvage it for whatever's left, and then I'll keep the other two to expiration.
The tide is changing here. So on the poll today in our YouTube poll, where will Tesla be by the end of the week? 155 votes are in. Over 250 has now succumbed to under 200. So more of you guys are expecting Tesla to be under 200 by the end of the week. You're really hurting Don's heart here. And only 48% of you think it's going to be over 250 by the end of the week.
Unfortunately, if I traded off their opinion, my account probably wouldn't be where it's at today. Also,
all over the place.
Yeah, and they gave their opinion after the earnings. It's not really fair.
No, that's not true. That's not true. There was a lot of
there were some, yeah,
some before, but those are your poll numbers there. Boogaloo Brown asks, should it legit on Disney? So Disney's going to have earnings, I believe, in 2 weeks. Let me reconfirm that. If I, I'm sorry. About 3 weeks is when Disney's the forward PE is at 26 times next year's earnings. So still kind of expensive. Is Disney legit? I think Disney's legit still. We really still haven't seen the types of numbers that we're used to seeing from Disney. From we want to see those 2019 numbers return to the parks, and I think we're going to get there. We're starting to see some of that, but we're not quite there yet. I find it interesting to see this double bottom here around $90 a share, and the reaction from Netflix as well. So Disney reacted to Netflix earnings yesterday. Obviously, things will pull back, and I think it's just because it pulled back with the rest of the market. But Disney's growth, if you combine Disney Plus with Hulu, ESPN Plus, it's actually bigger than Netflix. It's from a subscribership standpoint, and Disney has only been around for about 2.5 years. So to me, I think that Disney is legit AF, and I would say that it's worth hanging on to, or at least taking a look at, in my opinion, if it were me taking a shot at this.
I like it, but my question is, are they going to bring back the dividend? I mean, not that you have that answer, but just thinking out loud, like.
No, it's a good question worth asking. I don't know. I mean, they're still trying to get the parks back to where they once were, and the parks were the number one revenue driver for Disney. They still are, and I think that it's going to depend a lot on that. Can they outperform? And they've been doing really well on the Disney Plus front. If you guys recall, while Netflix was losing subscribers, Disney was still gaining, and I think that they're going to gain even still when they report on November the 8th. So that's going to be something to continue to watch. The stock's been very reactionary to the streaming services and not so much to parks, but I think that they should not go. They should not be ignored, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got to call out Pete though. He thinks I'm being salty about Tesla. I'm definitely not. Stick around. It is something I actually do say to everyone. If you're sad because you lost an earnings play, you couldn't afford it and you shouldn't have been playing it. It's a roulette trade. It's going to go up or it's going to go down, full stop. And if your account's not there, then you shouldn't be doing it. And that goes for anyone. That's why there's no feelings. There's no, if you did have feelings in this, it's going to be a wild ride. You're taking years off your life if you're going to start attaching your feelings to the stock market for sure.
I do like the fact that he called you Don Frown. That was a good one. That was a good one. Let's see here. A couple other comments. John Key, what is that? Keyorki asks about Etsy. I think Etsy certainly has some promise to it. It's been depressed as well. Last earnings were actually quite good, and it's just kind of been living in this channel. I think that Etsy is going to be fine too. They do a lot of good things, and I think they're legit. You look at their forward PE as well; it is still sky high, though. That's certainly going to be come into question. But you can't argue the fact that it seems as if that the bottom has come in around $67. And it's just been consolidating around here. They have earnings that'll be coming up in about 2 weeks, so I think that they should do well. But I still think it's legit even all the way down here.
I'm looking. Man, that took a beat down.
It sure did. Was that 307.75 at its highs? Let's take a look at that.
The Rona crash pumped it to 61 and then sent it to $30. And then 2021 happened. Sent it to $300. We're kind of back down.
Yeah.
I mean, if they liked it before the Rona manipulation, I don't know. It was kind of doing all right. Like from 18 to 19 was doing good, but from 19 to I guess 20 was trending down. That's what I would question. And so only just looking at technicals like this, you know it fundamentally far better than I do.
Yeah.
I question because the Rona and last year, like that just it's not how the market works, not how things actually are. So try to look at the characteristics beforehand because like, do we just get back to the normalcy of things? And how was it performing before all this? Like on a normal day, you know, how was this thing just hanging out on the playground? And Etsy looked kind of choppy before then. So I mean, if you got strong fundamental reasons and it's an investment, then I guess have at it. I don't know. But my biggest thing is just how much do you put in it allocation wise?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
All right. That's going to do it for today's show, guys. We have a lot going on tomorrow as well. We're going to be reacting to Snap, of course, but there are other ones that we should be paying attention to. I'm going to let you know exactly what they're going to be for just a second. Give me one moment here. I am ill prepared. Here we go. So tomorrow's earnings, we have AT&T is going to be reporting tomorrow morning. American Airlines, Nokia, if anybody cares. Remember Nokia was like big Wall Street bets one. That thing moved like crazy. Nucor, Dow Inc. is going to be reporting tomorrow as well before the bell. Alaska Airlines is also there. Then we have Snap. It's going to be the big one. More than likely, that's going to be what everybody has their eyes on as it pertains to some of the other tech stocks named Alphabet and Facebook, aka Meta platforms. So CSX also reporting tomorrow, Boston Beer Company, Whirlpool, among others. So guys, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Tesla 250.